Ever bought a monitor that looked amazing on the product page, only to set it up and feel like you'd been sold a piece of art you couldn't actually use? I've been there scrolling through glossy listings, staring at those impossible black OLED panels, and then realizing the size, the price, or the real-world performance just don't match what you need. That's why I'm doing this deep dive, so you can skip the disappointment and make a decision that actually fits your setup. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about why the LG 39-inch Ultragear OLED curved monitor is different from the sea of 27-inch IPS panels you see everywhere. This thing isn't just bigger, it's a 800R curve that hugs your field of view the way a racing cockpit does. When you sit down for a fast-paced shooter or a flight sim, the curve pulls the edges of the screen into your peripheral vision, making you feel like the action is happening around you, not just in front of you. In real-world use, that immersion can actually reduce the amount of head movement you need to keep track of enemies or instruments, which is a subtle but genuine ergonomic benefit for long sessions. Now, the headline specs: 240Hz refresh, 0.03 milliseconds response, NVIDIA G-Sync compatibility, and a VISA DisplayHDR True Black 400 rating sound like a checklist for a best-in-class gaming monitor. In practice, the 240Hz really shines when you're playing titles that can push that frame rate, like Valorant or CS2. I ran a few matches on a mid-range RTX 3060, and even though the GPU capped at about 180 frames per second in some scenes, the monitor's ability to handle that swing without stutter was noticeable. The 0.03 milliseconds response time is basically invisible. You won't see any ghosting on moving objects, which is a relief if you're used to the smearing you get on slower panels. The OLED panel itself brings a kind of black that LCDs can't touch. In a dark room, the true blacks make shadows pop, and that contrast boost is especially useful in horror games or any title that uses a lot of dark environments. The DisplayHDR True Black 400 rating means the monitor can hit a peak brightness of 400 nits while still delivering those deep shadows. In a dimly lit gaming den, you'll see a clear difference compared to a standard 144Hz IPS monitor. The 1.5 million pixel subpixel layout also gives you a more precise color gradation, which is why many creators who dabble in color-critical work, like video editors, find this screen useful for quick reference while they're gaming. But that OLED advantage comes with a trade-off you need to factor into your budget and daily routine. OLEDs are prone to static image burn-in if you leave a UI element on the screen for too long. Think of a persistent HUD, a chat window, or even a static desktop toolbar. LG has added some built-in pixel shifting and log illuminance detection, but it's still a habit to give the panel a break every few hours. If you're a streamer who leaves your streaming overlay up for marathon sessions, you'll need to schedule regular breaks or use a screensaver that moves things around. For most gamers who take short breaks or vary what's on screen, it isn't a deal breaker, but it's a hidden cost of owning an OLED. Another practical consideration is brightness. While 400 nits is solid for HDR, it's not enough to overcome a sunny living room. If you plan to use this monitor as a primary display in a bright office or near a window, you'll find the HDR highlights getting washed out. Pairing it with blackout curtains or a dedicated gaming nuke solves that, but it adds to the overall setup cost. The anti-glare coating helps a bit, but the curved glass can still reflect light in ways a flat panel wouldn't. Let's talk size and ergonomics. At 39 inches, the Ultragear commands a lot of desk real estate. The stand is sturdy, but you'll need a desk at least 30 inches deep to accommodate the curvature without the screen hitting the edge of your work surface. If you have a compact desk or sit very close to the monitor, the curve can actually become a visual strain because the edges sit farther away than the center. I recommend mounting it on a VESA-compatible arm if you have the budget. This gives you the flexibility to pull it back for collaborative work or push it in for solo gaming sessions. Connectivity is where the monitor feels future-proof. The USB-C port supports DisplayPort Alt Mode, 65W power delivery, and data transfer, which means you can hook up a laptop or a next-gen console with a single cable and keep your desk tidy. In practice, I connected my gaming laptop via USB-C and got a clean 240Hz signal without needing a separate DisplayPort cable. The built-in speakers are decent for casual audio, but don't expect cinema-level sound. Most users will still want a headset or external speakers for an immersive experience. So, who should actually buy this? If you're a competitive FPS player who already pushes high frame rates, or